Gulf South Conference and its member institutions believe good sportsmanship is an integral part of competition. In order for good sportsmanship to prevail, coaches, student athletes, and fans must display respect, fairness, honesty, responsibility before, during, and after all. We encourage fans to enthusiastically support their team, recognize outstanding performance of opponents, and always exhibit good sportsmanship in their words and actions. I like their jerseys. They look like crazy. Sit down, Liam. Sit down. Who that thinking that he frontin' on women? Off my stage, I'm the center. Off my that excites. I think a flame blowing up your whole life. I just like the I'm so sick and tired of the photo.
Welcome to Trustmark Arena. Montevallo prepares to take on the University of the Virgin Islands today in a special Monday night clash. It's Montevallo's last non-conference game before Wednesday's Pack the Sack event as they host UAH. Alex Tejada alongside Wyatt Hall for the call. Wyatt, what do we expect to see today from Danny Young's side?
Well, we should see some kinks worked out. They played Carver before Thanksgiving and won. Excuse me, they didn't lose 92-80. But even though they did win and score 92 points, there's still a lot of things that Coach Young was unhappy with, and I'm sure that in practice he worked those things out. And just getting ready for this big game on Wednesday when the Chargers come into town. This is a team in the Virgin Islands that has not won a game this season, so a chance for your players to gel a lot more than they have. I mean, there's only been 3 games. Or excuse me, 4. They've only had, this is only the 4th game with Jamar Taylor back, so working some things out with him and Chris Williams. We've seen Chris Williams kind of turn into more of a ball distributor once Taylor has come back. He had back-to-back games with 8 assists and 9 assists, so I'm sure we'll see that again tonight. He may become that Bryant Orange floor general that we saw here 2 years ago.
Not too much is known about the Buccaneers, the visitors coming in today. 0-8 so far. What kind of chance do they bring?
They have some dynamic scores. I mean, we look over the box scores over some of the games that they've played, and they have not played a home game this season.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trustmark Arena.
But as I said, they have not played a home game this season, so all been on the road games. But Justin Sifo scored 21 in their last game against Weber International, so they do have some players that can score some points. And as we just paused for that moment of silence, and we're still remembering A.J. Luke, who passed away after the Columbus State game. thoughts and prayers are still with the Luke family and the Montevallo community as they continue to mourn.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's
with that.
stars, beginning with the Buccaneers.
Starting lineups for today, University of Montevallo,
Number 2,
Jamar Taylor.
Jonathan
Since
Harley.
he has returned to the lineup, Montevallo have been undefeated. Is it just the return of Jamar Taylor? What else has Montevallo had
Number
in the
3,
past few games? He's
Anthony
turned the corner.
Goss.
I mean, it's mainly been Jamar Taylor. I mean, when you bring him back, you bring back 20.7 points
Number
per game.
10,
It gives you another
Justin
scorer
Sefo.
that lifts the shoulders off of Chris Williams, and it really kind of spreads the floor out defensively and allows Julio
Number
Guidi
12,
to kind of work
Jake Fay.
more down low, as we've seen how dominant he can be in the paint so far this season.
Rest of the starting lineup, Chris Williams,
number
Jamar
15,
Gilbert,
Josh
Jeremiah
Goss.
Curtis, some big-name transfers that came in, and they joined Julio
UVI is
Guidi.
coached by
What do
Jeff
these
Jones.
4 bring to the lineup?
Well, the focus is Chris Williams. We know that he can be a scorer. Had 2 games where he scored 27 this season. He can really take it all on his shoulders and really go to the basket. He's second in the conference in free throw shooting percentage. Shot 27 shots from the line, so we know he can get to the line. But really where it sets him apart with all his transfers is his distributing. Had 9 assists last game, and the game before had 8 assists. So he's going to be huge tonight and all season in that regard.
Starting lineup for the Buccaneers, the Goss brothers, Anthony and Josh, joined by Jake Fay, Jonathan Harley, and Justin Sefo. He appears to be the strongest link in this Buccaneer side.
Right, and Anthony Goss can fill up the stat sheet. In the game they lost only by 4, their closest game of the season, to St. Thomas, Goss had 15 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals. So if Goss can have a day like that, then the Virgin Islands have a chance to hang around with the Falcons for most of this game, as well as Josh Goss. He's coming off a game against Weber International in which he had a double-double with 17 points and 10 rebounds.
Montevallo averaging 74 points, but also giving up 74 points. What do they look to improve today defensively?
Well, they've got to lock down defensively individually. We saw Chris Denny really hurt Montevallo in the Carver game. Denny had 25 points, and he would just bring the ball up, go one-on-one against the Falcons and score. And Montevallo's really got to shut that down. We know what a force Julio Guidi can be. Had 5 blocks in the Carver game. Montevallo's going to be a lot tighter defensively and got to close out on these shooters.
We have a busy week ahead. UAH coming to town on Wednesday before the UNA game on Friday. What players do you think Danny Young brings off the bench to kind of experiment with to see the depth of his roster?
One is the freshman Alec Madonica. We've seen him a little bit this season. He had a game in which he grabbed 6 rebounds, so he can be important in that regard off the bench. The other one is Deshaun Jones, the transfer from Jacksonville State. We saw him start as a point guard in the first 3 games, but then it became Jamar Gilbert's job, so he's another name. And Tyler Bruff as well. We know what he can do for beyond the arc. He's 36% from beyond the line. Has shot 31 3-pointers, and has been the only shots he's taken from the floor. And he is a sharp shooter.
And the opening tip between Fay and Guidi goes the way of the Falcons. Montevallo uncharacteristically in the all-purple, taking on the Virgin Islands, who are in the all-white. First touch of the ball for Chris Williams.
Right, the Virgin Islands only have white uniforms, so Montevallo wearing purple because of that.
Down low to Jeremiah Curtis, get the first shot of the game, and it's an open 3.
And Jamar Taylor has really improved his 3-point percentage. When we first saw him in the first couple games last year, it was not very good, but then throughout the season progressed and has picked up right where he left off.
And last season, Jamar Taylor did a lot of playing second fiddle to J.J.
Right.
Douglas. How much is this his team this season?
This is his team this year, but I mean, Jamar Taylor's more of a quiet scorer than J.J. Douglas was, and we kind of saw that against Carver. So we'll see if he can kind of take more of the load and a vocal leadership role as well.
Gilbert Williams exchanges passes and an open look for Gilbert, who misses. Rebound came down with Jonathan Harley, who had a missed 3 on the other end, trying to respond.
Area to watch in the game today is in the paint. Montevallo outscored Carver 44-14 in the paint because of Jeremiah Curtis and Julio Guidi's presence. We'll see what they can do today.
Josh Goss with the basketball, well watched by Chris Williams. Sefo. Anthony Goss with patience. Drives inside. Long pass is way too high for his teammate Josh Goss.
And even though that was a turnover by the Virgin Islands, it's something Montevallo does not want to do. They don't need to get sucked in and leave those shooters out. That's what hurt them in the Carver game.
Perhaps a lack of confidence also for this Virgin Islands team, as there was a lane to drive into and instead chose the pass. Perhaps wasn't the wisest decision.
And we talk about Montevallo. losing A.J. Luke, but this Virgin Islands team has been through a lot as well this season. The hurricanes that have affected the Virgin Islands, part of their arena was messed up, which is why they are not going to be able to play a home game this year. So they're going to have to be on the road for all their games, and it's traveling into the States as well. So not an easy season for them.
Yeah, not an easy time of year for either of these sides who have withstood a lot of tragedy. And the Falcons, 3-3, looking to build on a season and get an important victory ahead of conference play on Wednesday. Virgin Islands trying to get power down low, but Chris Williams comes away with the basketball, tries to get a second back-to-back basket. He won't get it, but the offensive rebound is taken down by Jamar Taylor. Strength inside by Julio Guidi, who draws the foul.
And Guidi just takes that long arm up there and draws the foul. And Guidi, 6'7", one of the tallest players on this team, right behind Jeremiah Curtis, but has amazing reach in his long, lanky arms. It's allowed him to grab a ton of rebounds.
Chris Williams, a transfer from Trinidad State Junior College, originally from Denver, Colorado, just one of many Colorado players that have come and played for this Falcons program.
Right, Taylor Whitaker last year was from Colorado and was the big, strong man down low for the Falcons.
Jamar Gilbert, who's also coming in from Garden City Community College, is from Newark, New Jersey, where Logan Kelly came from. So a lot of familiar ties for Coach Young, who's in his 15th year. He's built a successful Montevallo basketball program. They expect great things again this year at Trustmark Arena, and a rejection by Julio Guidi.
Julio Guidi does such a fantastic job defensively and reading where the ball is going to be, and that's the reason why we saw him get 5 blocks against Carver.
And a couple years ago, we saw Julio Guidi get some minutes off the bench, but he was never into the starting 5, and now it appears that he's kind of blossomed his game now that he's gotten big-time minutes.
Right, and he was redshirted last year, and what a brilliant job by Coach Young to redshirt Guidi last year and have him for this year, and he has been phenomenal.
Josh Goss misses on one end, but a charge called on Jamar Taylor. 7-0 lead for the Falcons in the opening 3 minutes of the first half.
It's similar to the way they started out against Carver. They made a lot of their early shots, but then Carver just came back in the game. Montevallo kind of slacked off defensively.
Anthony Goss looking for the first points of the day for the Buccaneers. Long three and another one off the mark from Justin Sifo. They need him to get going. Chris Williams comes away with the basketball. Jamar Taylor weaving inside bodies and gets that to go. 9-0. And the first-year coach Jeff Jones wants a timeout after his side have opened 0-6 shooting from the field.
Yeah, you can't do that against this Montevallo team as they get out to a 9-0 run to start the game. And there's been some good looks here and there for the Virgin Islands so far in this game. They just have not been able to knock down their shots. And then one of the early turnovers, they had a man wide open in the corner for 3 and just threw it away out of bounds. So got to cut that out. Some of the dribble penetration has been there and is beating some of these Montevallo defenders, but you've got to finish with the shots.
We haven't mentioned something today. Chris Williams, despite making an instant impact, his main impact perhaps has been from the free throw line, shooting an astounding 93% so far this year. Chris
Williams has gone to the free throw line 30 times this season, has made 28 of them. So his ability to get to the free throw line is very impressive and is huge for this Montevallo team.
Mentioned this week, Montevallo opens conference play taking on UAH in North Alabama. They then face Oakwood and Stillman before continuing play on the road. A lot of games for this festive period of time for the Falcons.
Boy, are we excited for that UAH game. That is going to be a fun one.
Another open look. This one won't go either.
Wow, 0 of 8 now from the field. Some of these shots were good looks as well. Faye had a wide open layup and just completely airballed it.
Andre Williams was brought off the bench, but nothing changed for him. And Jamar Taylor's lighting it up from the right.
Great job by Jamar Gilbert, driving in and sucking all the Buccaneer defenders in and leaving Jamar Taylor wide open in the corner. Fantastic job by Gilbert.
Falcons have the opening 12 in the first 4 minutes of the game. Marco Ponce has also come in trying to make an impact as Coach Jones looks for answers or perhaps a first bucket. It appears this Virgin Islands team is also mismatched size-wise, especially against players like
And this is
Jeremiah Curtis.
This is one of the taller Montevallo teams in recent history, with Julio Guidi at 6'7" and Curtis at 6'8".
And there's the aforementioned Curtis knocking down a long two. 14-0, and Montevallo are enjoying themselves out here.
And there's a little bit of that Malik Fields, Tevin Worthy type play, taking those elbow jumpers. That's a beautiful stroke that Jeremiah Curtis has.
Yeah, that was Malik Fields. Just
yep.
That was his #1 shot. Ponce passes it around to Fay. He's looked very frustrated early on. Josh Goss driving low, well watched by Chris Williams, who appears to be an impact on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, Williams had 6 steals last game, so he can be very active defensively as well as offensively.
Williams, low percentage 3, decides to take it with a man in his face. He was put off by Anthony Goss. Quick rebound. Fay misses it. Pulled down by Guidi, and it appears that Guidi is the #1 guy getting rebounds, goes coast to coast to Jeremiah Curtis, who's fouled hard by Goss. It appears Curtis has stayed down. The 6'8" junior from Stevens City, Virginia, came to Montevallo from Compton Community College.
And we can hope that Curtis is okay there, because Montevallo very, not a lot of depth in the post. I mean, really the only one that'll come off the bench and play in the post is Alec Madonica.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Kendarius Mullins, the freshman from Huffman, is out with injury this year. And Bruff has the size at 6'4", but he's a three-point shooter, so.
Is that the only weak point for the Falcons you see is the power down low?
The depth at the power down low. I mean, the power down low is very impressive. I mean, Guidi and Curtis do a great job, but it's really more of the depth down low that could be an issue, especially when we get into some of these Gulf South Conference games where Guidi may get into foul trouble. It's going to be interesting to see who we insert down there. We may have to go for a guard. We'll see a lot of things spread out.
Montevallo shooting 5 for 9 in the opening 5 and change minutes. Visitors have gone 0 for 10. Quick release. They're not exactly using all the shot clock. 2 turnovers committed. Falcons have 1. Right now it's been a busy afternoon for Jamar Taylor, who has 8 points. Chris Williams has 3. 4 rebounds as well for Williams, who looks well on his way to a double-double. And him and Taylor have formed a nice combination down low as the Falcons prepare their first subs of the game. Deshaun Jones here on this near sideline next to Tyler Bruff, who checks in.
And under these Denny Young teams in recent memory, it's all been about the duo. I mean, last year it was Taylor and Douglas, and then Lipkins and Orange. And, you know, this year, is it going to be more focused on Taylor and Williams, or is it going to be Curtis and Guidi? You've got really 2 groups of guys in the front court and the back court. They can really work well together and just dominate.
Montevallo certainly has the pieces. It's just about getting them to gel as the Falcons open this season 0-3. Things kind of turned around eventually.
Really, depth is going to be the biggest question mark all season long. You're going to have to look to guys like Deshaun Jones and Tyler Bruff to step up huge of this Montevallo team late in some games this season.
Andre Williams draws a foul from Julio Guidi, and a chance for the Virgin Islands to get their first points of the game.
And Danny Young is not a coach that plays really more than 7 or 8 players in a game, likes to keep it to that minimum. So really those 6 and 7 guys really have to step up, and that looks like it's going to be Jones and Bruff.
There was a slight delay after the start time was pushed to 7:30 because of a malfunction with the net. And right now that's the first basketball to go in that net right now, and it appears there was a little bit of a curse on that net for the Virgin Islands, as they've had a hard time getting it to go down.
Yeah, some of those really didn't even touch the net, though, so I don't think we can blame that.
Andre Williams gets the first point for Coach Jones' side. Misses on the second attempt. Julio Guidi.
I thought Guidi was going to tip it back in.
Yeah. See a wry smile from Guidi over to his coach. 16-1 for the Falcons in the opening 5 minutes. Good pass from Chris Williams. Very orthodox style he possesses, but Deshaun Jones cannot benefit from the pass. Tossed around by Goss. They work it to the outside.
Fantastic defense.
Great defense from Curtis, but the official decides he drew a foul on Andre Williams.
And Guidi really made that play by shuffling his feet back and getting in the position to shut off Ponce. Andre Williams, excuse me. Line.
Malachi Eastman is also checked into the game. Williams is 1 for 3 on the day as he misses the first of these two. First appearance of the day for Zach Jackson, who's from nearby Birmingham, Alabama, a transfer from Lawson State Community College. So a lot of experience for him, but at a lower level. Curtis makes the second, 16-2. Deshaun Jones, senior from Gulfport, Mississippi, carrying it up the court. Williams down low to Curtis. Bruff, as we mentioned, can shoot the three. Chris Williams fouled by Malachi Eastman, his first.
You see a lot of times with the shooters that can get kind of happy and just shoot every time they get the ball. Bruff's one of those guys that's very patient with the shot. If he knows it's not there, he's going to dribble and pass it up and then try and get an open position for the three again. Very smart player.
And Bruff, another player that was redshirted last season like Julio Guidi, comes in with a lot of experience. Finds Curtis down low as his option. He has it wrestled away from him by Josh Goss.
Yeah, Curtis just wasn't paying attention there.
Goss to Goss, and they get it down low. Draw another foul. First foul of the game for Zach Jackson.
His first personal team foul, number 4.
And what do we expect from the junior from Birmingham, Alabama today off the bench?
I mean, just got to provide some sort of bench scoring. I mean, we haven't seen him score yet this season.
It's from Pinson Valley High School, the same school that brought us softball player Kirby Tuck. So
right.
Lots of Montevallo connections. Chance to go 2-2 at the line. He misses it, but gets his own rebound. Passes it to his brother, Anthony. Malachi Eastman. Watched by Williams, who I've been very impressed by just his tenacious way of playing basketball. He seems to be in the face of everyone. Eastman gets that one to go, 16-5.
Williams has got to be the Brian Orange. I mean, you saw when that team went to the national tournament, Terrell was the scorer, he was the guy, and then Brian Orange did everything else, and that's what Chris Williams is going to have to do, and then Jamar Taylor will be the Terrell Lipkins type player. Zach Jackson gets his first buckets as a Falcon.
Yeah, it was 9% shooting for the Buccaneers. They'll try to change that here as they've gotten the last couple possessions to be more fruitful than the opening 5 minutes. Long three from Fay, it's off the mark. Strong play by Curtis as he went for the basketball alongside Andre Williams.
And this is the second game I've seen of Jeremiah Curtis, and he plays with his emotions on his sleeve, so he's got to be very careful with that, especially when we get into some of these heated rivalry games, such as UAH coming up on Wednesday.
Jamar Taylor returns back to the game, and here's the first appearance of Alex Medenica, the freshman from Yarmouth, Maine, as we mentioned, perhaps the only player off the bench that can provide that height down low. 12:42 remaining in the half. Montevallo up 16-5. Deshaun Jones looked impressive since coming on. See how he combines with Jamar Taylor. Great moves from Jamar Taylor, and he's just so dainty when he gets inside the lane.
And you just see the attention that Jamar Taylor draws when he's in the paint. I mean, he could have passed it off to Bruff for a wide open three if he wanted to, and that's a high percentage shot for Bruff, shooting 38%.
And unbelievable footwork, too, from Jamar Taylor. He's a player that comes in there with the head of steam, and you think, uh-oh, he's going to, draw a charge.
Everyone in.
But, yeah, just excellent maneuvering. Kind of opens up other shooters as well. See if get Bruff some opportunities to shoot the three ball today. Montevallo up 20-5. Justin Sifo returns to the action. Couldn't make a bucket in his opening 5 minutes of play. They need his influence now. Deshaun Jones brings the basketball up the court. Watched by Anthony Goss. Passes it to Taylor.
And that's not something you want, Jamar Taylor one-on-one.
Jamar Taylor drew on 3 defenders, couldn't get that to fall, and Joseph Fogg gets his first contribution of the game, plucking down a defensive rebound, but the Virgin Islands turns it over real fast, just inside 12 minutes. Montevallo with a 15-point lead, media timeout. It's been an impressive opening 8 minutes for the Falcons.
And we've seen the go-to guy is Jamar Taylor, and he's had some success here tonight. Haven't really seen much of Julio Guidi, a little bit of foul trouble for the big man, but Montevallo playing a little sloppy here and there, but the Virgin Islands shooting very poorly, less than 9% from the floor, just are not getting shots to go down. And some of them are good shots, some of them are not. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, they're not taking down the shot clock very long. They're just firing up a shot when they get it. We've seen Jake Fay throw up 4 threes and has yet to hit one. So just got to be smarter, and I'm sure Jeff Jones in his first year out of Pittsburgh State is really driving that into his team right now. But I can't imagine how tough it is for this team to play. I mean, had 2 4-game road spans, or two 4-game series on the road this season that they played in, did not win a game, and playing every game on the road, you know, and then the tragedy that happened at home earlier this fall. So just a tough season for this Virgin Islands team.
Julio Guidi in a bit of foul trouble, 2 fouls to go along with 2 rebounds and only 1 point on the day. It's been a quiet 10 points for Jamar Taylor, who also has 2 rebounds. So we've mentioned how he gets 20 points plus, but it doesn't exactly feel like it in the way that J.J. Douglas kind of brought it.
He's not a flashy player. I mean, you'll see Jamar Taylor get some dunks every now and then, but he's not he doesn't draw a lot of attention to himself. It's a very quiet guy, and so a lot of the excitement and energy we see is from Julio Guidi.
He makes for a very productive player. Jamar Taylor couldn't find anyone there, losing his feet, just threw it out of bounds.
Yeah, not really much contact there, just kind of lost his footing.
Zach Jackson out there with Taylor, as well as Medenica, Bruff. Goss going up against Deshaun Jones. Medenica providing help. 2 Falcons getting in each other's way, and it opens up a lane down low. Easy basket for Sifo, his first of the game. Had a big game last time out.
And Tyler Bruff just got beat there on the drive to the basket.
The offensive side of the ball. Bruff passes it up to Taylor, directing traffic. Jones, Jacksonville State transfer, just leaves it a little short. There's Zach Jackson underneath, tries to force things, but the Falcons are sloppy in possession.
Substitute for Montevallo, number 1,
Jamar Gilbert and Chris Williams return back to the action, replacing Deshaun Jones and Tyler Bruff. Anthony Goss dribbling the basketball down the floor. Has Andre Williams. Josh Goss. They work it down low and one. Joseph Fogg gets it to fall and earns a trip to the line.
First foul, number 4, Alec Medenica. His first personal team foul.
It's the first foul for the substitute, Alex Medenica. And the first free throw is out, and a wasted opportunity. Virgin Islands trail 20-9. There's more of that tenacious play from Chris Williams.
I really like what I've seen from Williams so far. He can really just put his head down and go to the basket, and that's one of the reasons why he's been so has shot so many free throw attempts and is shooting at such a high percentage.
Last year, Montevallo had a physical presence by the size of Taylon Whitaker. They also had Tevin Worthy in the past. And Kevin Kelly, despite his small stature, was kind of, a bulldog and getting the ball away from people, forcing some steals. This year, they have some size in Jeremiah Curtis and the tenacious play of Chris Williams. So a very aggressive Montevallo side.
And then Julio Guidi as well, who can just swat anything out of there.
This Montevallo side certainly does not look like they have missed any of the aggression from the graduating players. Have a 13-point lead, 22-9 halfway through this first half. Have the Virgin Islands kind of lost their stage fright and broken into the game?
A little bit, but it seems as they did it a little too late.
Another wasted possession, ball taken up the court by Jamar Gilbert. Right now the Falcons taking advantage of some frustration, but not being able to capitalize on it on this.
Jamar Gilbert is a little predictable when he drives. You saw that he traveled there, but the defender for the Virgin Islands completely read what he was going to do and kind of scoop it around to Jackson. And that was a 7th turnover for the Falcons today. So really something they've got to limit. Only turned it over 12 times against Carver.
Still with the 13-point lead carried down the court by Goss. Andre Williams trying to force things, and a blocking foul down low. I believe that one's called on Deshaun Jones.
Personal foul number 10, Deshaun Jones. His first personal, team foul number 6. Shooting 2 for UVI, number 5, Andre Williams.
Williams has not shot very well from the free throw line today, misses yet another one. 10:01 in the first half, Montevallo nursing a 13-point lead. As Williams misses the second, Zach Jackson comes down with the rebound. Virgin Islands only shooting 33% early on in this game from the free throw line. As Deshaun Jones draws a foul on the other end of the court.
Personal foul number 10, Justin Seifo. His first
Jonathan
personal,
Harley prepares to check back in for the visitors. Jeremiah Curtis preparing to come back in for the Falcons. Montevallo already in the double bonus.
Jump over on his left hand. Is it going right? Okay, jump on his right hand.
High arcing shot by Jones on the first free throw, but he left it short.
Substituting in for UVI, number 2, Jonathan Harley.
Curtis replaces Zach Jackson. He got his first basket in the Montevallo uniform a few moments earlier. 9:50 in the first half as Jones prepares for his second free throw. Knocks down the second. Andre Williams inbounds it to Goss. And free throw was something of an Achilles heel for the Falcons in the past. It appears they've kind of sorted out their problems.
Yeah, been very successful at that so far this year. Chris Williams and Jamar Taylor have had a lot of success from the free throw line.
Offensive foul called on Anthony Goss.
Offensive foul number 3.
Just was a little clumsy going down the lane.
Team foul number 7. Steps again for UVI, number 22, Marco Ponce.
Marco Ponce returns to the action for the Virgin Islands. Anthony Goss gets a break. It's been a frustrating afternoon for him. Deshaun Jones, who's seen a lot of minutes since the opening rally by the Falcons, put them up 12. Medenica. Jamar Taylor back to Jones. They have Curtis down low, but decide to pass it all the way across the court, and a three-point effort goes.
Wow.
What a shot from Chris Williams.
What a play there. Bad pass, but Chris Williams handles it and fires home the three-pointer.
Marco Ponce lost control of the basketball, regained it, and passed it to Andre Williams. Williams spot up three, gets that one to fall, and that's the first of the game for the Virgin Islands from beyond the arc. 26-12 shots starting to fall for both sides, 8:44 remaining in the first half.
And Williams had 18 in a game against Middle Georgia, so we know that he can kind of carry the scoring load if he needs to for this Virgin Island team. They may have to look to him.
Medenica with a three of his own and gets it to fall. It's raining buckets at Trustmark Arena. 29-12, Falcons with a 17-point lead.
Even though he made that, Coach Young kind of upset with him for not making the pass.
He'll also be upset with that as Andre Williams knocks down back-to-back threes. So a bit of a shooting gallery going on here. Chris Williams has got a great shot in him as well. Taylor. Good pass from Jones. Medenica just lost the handle. There was a foul underneath.
Personal foul number 10, Justin Seifo, his second personal team foul.
Justin Seifo picks up his second. And that's the first three of the season for Alec Medenica. Has only attempted one previously. So that'll be a huge weight off of his shoulders to get his first tray in a Montevallo uniform. Falcons up 29-15 with 7:58 remaining, and it appears that the game is just kind of cranked up a notch.
Yeah, this is a great, kind of warm-up for Wednesday as Montevallo to kind of work out some of the kinks that they've had thus far this season. But as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, undefeated with Jamar Taylor. So I mean, in the games that they played without him, they were some tough opponents. I mean, losing by 2 to Kentucky Wesleyan without Jamar Taylor, and then we're down by a lot against Benedict and came back and only lost by 12. Benedict's number 14 in the country, and they did that without Jamar Taylor. Then Augustana, they got beat, by 11 or so without Jamar Taylor as well. So then they get him back for Claflin, who's not an easy opponent either, and get the win. So really having Jamar Taylor in this lineup makes a lot of difference. And they played well without him, so we really don't really know what the ceiling is for this Montevallo team yet. I still think that we have yet to see them play at their best, but we got a big game and a prime opportunity for them to do that on Wednesday.
Visitors only shooting 29%, only 20% from beyond the arc. Montevallo with an astounding 5 for 7 from 3 and 60% field goal shooting, as well as 75% from the line as Medinica knocks down the first. Falcons double the Virgin Islands score, 30-15. Medinica is a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. Marco Ponce. Works it around to Josh Goss, who misses. Ponce gets the offensive rebound. Put under pressure from Williams. Ponce is put under pressure by Jones. Throws a desperation pass across the court to Goss, who stepped on the baseline and turns it over. Ponce trying to work the offense all by himself, and it appears Montevallo's pressure was just too much for him. As Anthony Goss checks back in to replace him. 31-15, Montevallo with the lead with 7:28 in the first half.
And you mentioned Montevallo's three-point shooting. If they continue the way they are, they could make history here. The best three-point shooting percentage with a minimum of 10 attempts is 68% in the 2012-13 season against North Carolina Pembroke. So if Montevallo keeps shooting the way that they have in this first half, we could see some history.
Montevallo 5 for 7 from beyond the arc. A great start that they have gotten out to.
Second personal, team foul, number 9.
Foul sends Julio Guidi back to the line. Montevallo with a 16-point advantage. 2 free throws all the way out. Joseph Fogg, who knocked down his early field goal attempt, returns to the action. Both teams with 6 turnovers today. Montevallo playing against lesser opponents, so they have a chance to kind of hone their craft today. What kind of things would Coach Young like to perfect ahead of Wednesday when you play against a team where you have less room for error?
I think better decision making. I think we've seen him be a little upset at some players individually for some decisions they made. We've seen Jamal Gilbert make a few errant passes and such. So I think just kind of playing as a team and making better decisions is one thing that, as we see Jamar Taylor turn it over, is one thing that Coach Young will harp on before Wednesday.
Fogg ends up with the basketball. Jake Fay has it now. He's looked very uncertain of himself.
And yeah, that was the 3rd turnover for Jamar, so that's really something that Coach Young is going to hone in on with him.
Chris Williams, long 2, couldn't get his feet set, and it was way off the mark.
And plays like that, just taking bad shots, I mean, we see Coach Young upset after that. Just got to make the smart play.
Williams to Goss to Fay, who can't get it to fall, and he is now 0 for 4 shooting. So a difficult afternoon for number 12, Deshaun Jones. Montevallo's gone a couple possessions not being able to hit from the floor. Some costly turnovers, and that's a 4th now for Jamar Taylor, and a chance for a quick break basket and a goaltend on Taylor. Basket will count for Anthony Goss, 31-17. Tyler Bruff returns to the action, replacing Chris Williams. (31-17) with just under 6 minutes to go in the first half at Trustmark Arena. Falcons playing a rescheduled game against Virgin Islands, which was originally scheduled for Saturday, was moved to Monday. It appears there's a lot more fans in Trustmark Arena than there would have been on Saturday.
Yeah.
And a dunk from Julio Guidi, unstoppable down low, despite Joseph Fogg all over him.
And we've been waiting for that. Julio Guidi, when I talked to him after the Carver game, he said, I'm the energy guy, so I got to bring it. And he brings it there with the slam.
Just wasn't the best of decisions to get in his way, it appears.
No, it was not.
Guidi back to the line. The Falcons with a 16-point lead. Gets a lucky bounce, and that one falls. So the Falcons have double the points of the Buccaneers. Just started to find their feet and forced the Falcons with some sloppy turnovers, but the shots continue to fall for the home team. Andre Williams taking advantage of a defensive mismatch and knocks down another.
What a shot by Andre Williams.
And he's now in double digits with 11 points, leads his side. Jones. Jamar Taylor from distance gets it to fall, and that's his 13th of the game.
And Jamar Taylor has improved his three-point shooting so much, and he has been on fire this season.
Mentioned Montevallo averages 73 points a game, well on the way to muster that today. It was off the mark on this occasion from Fogg. A long three from Goss won't fall, and there goes Julio Guidi flying in there.
And a very bad shot by Fogg to start that off. Just kind of second-guessed it and pump-faked around and just fired up the shot. Not a good decision by Fogg.
Yeah, the problem for the Virgin Islands is it appears that they're kind of caught in two minds. On one hand, they want to play, you know, no regrets basketball, just go out there and run and gun. But at the same time, they kind of appear not very confident themselves. They're thinking twice before cross-court passes, thinking twice about open looks, and it's kind of giving you that half second that the Falcons have to have a man in their face.
Yeah, they're not.
The half second you're not going to be afforded when you're playing at UAH.
They're not playing very well as a team, Virgin Islands is. They've just got to be more confident in themselves.
Have a lot of individual efforts, too. Not much chemistry going on for the Buccaneers. Montevallo trying to force some things early on as well. Deshaun Jones almost lost the ball, but a reach-in foul called on Josh Goss. Montevallo with a 17-point lead, 37-20, 4:35 until the break.
Correction, second person.
With only 9 players being played so far, Virgin Islands will be worried about several players with 2 fouls as Ponce checks back into the game. The only player without any personal fouls to his name. Jones knocks down both as the lead swells to 19. Inbound by Goss. Deshaun Jones has looked bright since coming on, and Coach Young has had no reason to pull him off. Ponce did well to pass it. Fay can't get it to go, and he's 0 of 5
Yeah,
now.
that's about the 3rd time we've seen Fay do that. Make a nice move to the basket, but just completely missed the shot.
Zach Jackson came away with the ball. Taylor passes it off to Bruff. Bruff has that size advantage on Ponce, so if he would like to take a 3, travel, however, down low on Zach Jackson. So a 7th turnover now for the Falcons. 4:04 remaining in the first. Anthony Goss trying to expand the lines of communication for the Buccaneers. Fay trying to get things going himself. Ponce, a contested 3 with Bruff in his face. We mentioned that size advantage, and it appears he was put off by the pressure from the senior from Salisbury, Indiana, who had to wait his turn since transferring from Olney Central Community College, but it appears he's getting some playing time, and Tyler Bruff provides the 3-point threat, and the Falcons shooting pretty well from 3 today.
Yeah, they are. I mean, 6 of 8, and I mentioned, you know, they're approaching, you know, the record books on that regard. We'll see what they do. Could be a history-making day.
After a slow start, both of these teams have found their shooting. Saw Chris Williams knock one down. There's a 3 from Jamar Taylor. We saw a block from Julio Guidi, who's been massive on the boards.
I'll tell you what, though, Alex, I want to see some more dunks. I want to see some exciting plays I want to get ready for Wednesday. We've seen what Jamar Taylor can do. I mean, especially last year, dunking over people. I want to see some of that tonight. We saw Jamar Taylor alley-oop thrown by Chris Williams in the Carver game. I want some of that. I want some Julio Guidi putback dunks. Had a nice one-handed putback on a missed free throw attempt in the game against Carver. So we need some of that energy to come and to flow in this game and carry that into Wednesday.
Perhaps the only negative thing so far in this first half for the Falcons is 9 turnovers for a team that only averages 14. It's a very high number, especially playing against a non-conference opponent.
And the Falcons not really attacking the paint as much as we saw them do against Carver, outscoring them 44-14. Have only scored 8 points in the paint to the Virgin Islands 6 today.
Andre Williams, the only player for the Buccaneers with more than 1 bucket, has 11 points. No one else on the team has more than 2. Falcons are led by Jamar Taylor's 13, and they have 8 as well from Chris Williams, who's chipped in 4 rebounds. Bruff, Montevallo with a 19-point lead, and the basketball is Deshaun Jones just loses his footing. No foul called. Pressure put on him by Anthony Goss. Falcons preparing to check in. Zach Jackson, Jamar Gilbert, Chris Williams, as well as
Tyler Updike's going to check in also.
Tyler Updike, the 6'4" senior from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, transferred from UNC Wilmington. Malachi Eastman, long shot from Fay, and same story for Fay. He's 0-6. Make that 0-7. Jamar Gilbert, and there's a bump foul down low on Ponce. That's his first.
Personal foul, number 22, Marco Ponce, his first personal.
Now the Falcons out-rebounding their opponents 20-11. Visitors, however, have gotten 4 steals, despite only shooting 27%. Montevallo have dipped below the record-setting three-point percentage, shooting 67%, but still an impressive 61% from the field. 11 of 15 from the free throw line. Visitors only with 9 trips to the free throw line and shooting 33%. Knocks down this one. Jamar Gilbert stretches the lead to 20. Exactly 3 to go in the first half. Eastman trying to force things for the Buccaneers. Andre Williams trying to take it upon himself to lead this comeback, and he trails another 3.
Andre Williams is having a day.
He is 4 from 6 from beyond the arc. The rest of the team is 0 for 11. Curtis Williams, wide open look for Gilbert, in and out. Tipped around by Jackson, who gets his own rebound and gets it to go, and he has 4 points now.
Fantastic work by Zach Jackson, grabbing the offensive board and turning it into 2 points.
42-23, 2:20 remaining in the first half. Andre Williams on the opposite side of the court is dispossessed by Updike. Pass from Gilbert to Jackson, who has his 6th point of the afternoon.
What a nice move by Jackson, anticipating the defense coming in and switching to the left side and scooping it in.
And a timeout called by Coach Jones as the Montevallo sideline starting to enjoy themselves. Up 44-23, 2:09 remaining in the first half. Montevallo with some party basketball.
And this is where we start seeing Montevallo playing their best, is when they get fun and they get happy and they get loose. Like I said, I want to see some dunks. I want to see some big plays. So just get some of this energy into this arena and carry it into Wednesday, because Wednesday is going to be a big game. When Montevallo played UAH in the Gulf South, Montevallo won all the time against UAH. So they're going to be coming back looking for some revenge against the Falcons. And if it's anything like the rivalry we saw in soccer, we're in for a treat, Alex.
And it appears Montevallo have established these new rivalries, have done pretty well against their new rivals, despite UAH seems to have gotten Montevallo's number right now.
Yeah, we'll see on Wednesday if Montevallo can put them in their place, so to speak.
Eastman passes it around to Ponce. Difficult afternoon for Jake Fay. Eastman tries a shot which is well off the mark, has a man underneath to get the rebound, but Andre Williams can't put it back up. Jamar Gilbert comes away with the rebound. Falcons with their largest lead of the afternoon, 21. And a travel called on Gilbert. Several
Not sure
players on
about
the
that
Falcons
one.
sideline as well as us disagreeing with that.
Yeah, maybe he saw something I didn't, but.
Fay inbounding to Eastman. It's surprising that Coach Jones has left those two out there as they appear the most flustered. Eastman. Fay left it short again. Chris Williams with the rebound and numbers. 4 on 3 for the Falcons. Zach Jackson, who has 6 points today. Back to Williams.
32, let's go.
Gilbert changed his shot selection in mid-air. Ponce to Eastman. Falcons getting set on defense. Chance for the Buccaneers to take advantage of that. Ponce, 3 off the mark. Updike thinks twice about it. Decides to pass it down low to Zach Jackson.
Get in, Zach. Work it, let's go. 32 gets us all.
Too much play by the Buccaneers, just waiting
Wow.
to react.
What a strong move by Zach Jackson. Wow.
Zach Jackson adds his 8th point of the afternoon, and Montevallo takes a 23-point lead.
I mean, that just the strength to go up like that reminds me of Taylor Whitaker.
Certainly smaller stature as
Yeah.
well. Long shot off the mark by Fogg.
Yeah, Taylor Whitaker was only 6'4" as well. I mean, but was played with this tenacity and aggressiveness down low. You thought it would be 6'8". Was so strong.
Virgin Islands trying to force things, and they don't exactly have much of a choice as they find themselves in a huge hole. They're trying to work this under 20 if they can. Only 25 seconds. Missed jumper from Eastman. A chance for the Falcons with the shot clock turned off to expand this lead. Jamar Gilbert, who's grown into the game as it has gone on.
Now, Jamar.
Jeremiah, on screen, go. Go, Chris.
See what the Falcons have in them as they decide to start to run a play, but they ran out of
And
time.
that's the same spot that Deshaun Jones fell earlier. There may be something wet on the floor there. I'm surprised we haven't wiped it up, but that was the exact same spot that Jones tripped on.
So an uncharacteristically high number of turnovers for Montevallo, but a poor shooting percentage from beyond the arc for the Virgin Islands, combined with an impressive afternoon for Jamar Taylor, has the Falcons up 46-23 at the break. We'll be back in about 15 minutes for the second half from Trustmark Arena.
It is time for the halftime three-point shooting contest.
Zach Jackson has added 8 to go along with 4 rebounds.
An update on Jake Fay, 0 of 8 in that half from the field and 0 of 5 from 3.
The Virgin Islands as a team only shot 18% from beyond the arc compared to the Falcons' 67%. Also a disparity in just regular field goal shooting. Falcons shooting 64 compared to 24% for the visitors, who've only made 8 from the field. Falcons also have an advantage in rebounds, 25 compared to only 14 to the visitors, but the big discrepancy has been on the defensive boards, where Montevallo has 21 compared to only 5 for the Buccaneers.
And that's been huge today. Just Virgin Islands have not been able to rebound, and Montevallo has taken full advantage of that.
Montevallo also lead points in the paint, 14-6, although both teams have capitalized off of turnovers in equal measure. Guidi kicks it out to Gilbert. Falcons only have 1 player in any semblance of foul trouble. Julio Guidi has picked up a pair. Several players, 5 in fact, for the Virgin Islands, have a pair of fouls. Good work down low by Sifo, and he's made a bright start to the second half. 28-48 in the opening minute and a half, both teams exchanging buckets. Jamar Gilbert was impressive as the first half went on, trying to build in that first half momentum. Williams down low.
Great move. Great move by Chris Williams, just putting his head down and going to the basket. Great job.
Falcons have 50 points, just 100 away from the record. And a foul.
Only 100 points away.
Yeah, only. Foul on Andre Williams off the ball as Malachi Eastman is trying to make inroads. Visitors find themselves down 28-50. Jeremiah Curtis is down low as long as Julio Guidi, so the Falcons with the taller lineup. Jake Fay, perhaps the only person that can match up size-wise. Low percentage 3 from Jamar Taylor. Julio Guidi stepped on the baseline. These turnovers, are they down to a lack of team chemistry or just a lack of mental focus for the Falcons?
Chemistry, I think. I mean, you know, this is a group of guys who haven't really played with each other a lot and still kind of figuring things out. I mean, this is only the 4th game back with Jamar. And then, you know, mental focus can be a thing, too. I mean, this is the second game they played after the tragedy with A.J. Luke. So you got to think that that's still weighing heavy on their hearts as Jake Fay knocks down his first shot of the game.
Jake Fay 1 for 9, and that'll be a huge relief for him. Virgin Islands only trail 19. Largest lead of the game was by the Falcons with 23, which they had in the first half. Running jumper, and Curtis gets that one to fall.
Soft touch by Curtis. It's a great shot.
Curtis now has 6 on the afternoon to go along with 4 rebounds. Falcons have 4 assists apiece from Jamar Gilbert and Deshaun Jones. So some impact players off the bench. We've seen Gilbert for several minutes here in the second half to open the second. Jay, see if that last bucket can get him sparked. And a turnover by the Buccaneers.
Yeah, double dribble called against number 15, Josh Goss.
Number 10,
Deshaun Jones returns to the action, replacing Jamar Gilbert. Starting to find his feet. He has 3 points to go along with the 4 assists. There was that Malik Fields long 2 from Curtis. Couldn't get it to fall the first time.
Before that foul, I don't know if you saw the pass that Curtis made over his head to Guidi. These two have been playing very well together down low. It's been fun to watch, and I'm sure that we'll see some nice passes and dunks between them all season down low, just dominating the paint.
And we've seen the duos down low of Guidi and Jeremiah Curtis. We've also seen Williams link up with Taylor. How much more dynamic will the Falcons be if they can get Deshaun Jones, Zach Jackson, or even Jamar Gilbert working in tandem with the rest of the team?
And, I mean, it'll be good. I mean, we've seen some spurts of Zach Jackson. Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Jamar Taylor just toying with the defense of the Virgin Islands there. What a move.
Unbelievable dexterity by the senior to be able to change shots in midair. He kind of just hung there for several seconds.
Man.
The Milwaukee native putting on a clinic.
I forgot what I was even saying before that.
Wow, Falcons with a 54-31 lead. Jamar Taylor, 15 points in the afternoon.
And just a bad shot there for the Virgin Islands. A bad shot.
Bad possession as they run out of time. Find themselves on the wrong end of the 23-point deficit, which ties the largest of the game. Media timeout with 15:56 remaining. Appears that the Falcons have picked up where they left off in the first half.
Did we win? $15 points for Jamar Taylor now to lead all scorers in all Falcons, but Andre Williams right behind him with 14, and Chris Williams in double digits with 12 now. 3 turnovers for Jamar Gilbert and 4 for Jamar Taylor. That's something that duo's got to clean up.
But Jamar Gilbert also has a game-high 5 assists. So he's made a quiet impact. The Falcons shooting slightly below that record 3-point percentage. They now are at 64%. Visitors only shooting 24% from beyond the arc, which is only slightly bettered by their 28% from the field. Montevallo with an impressive 64%. Continue to shoot 71% from the line. Visitors with a poor 3 for 9 from the free throw line. Falcons with those 13 turnovers.
And the Virgin Islands have shot very poorly in this game, but they've taken bad shots as well. I mean, they got to be smarter as they just get big boyed by Jamar Taylor down low. He is just a force.
17th point of the game for the Wisconsin native. See if Malachi Eastman has an answer.
His career high is 32, had last year against Pembroke when J.J. Douglas went down injured, and he kind of took the scoring load. Maybe he can get going here and get close to that tonight.
Deshaun Jones gives it to Chris Williams, who's also had a fantastic afternoon and blows by defenders to get to the basket. Left Joseph Fogg right behind him.
And finishes with the left hand. That's a beautiful move.
58-31 with 15:02 remaining. Tyler Bruff prepares to check in for Montevallo.
Substitute again for Montevallo, number 12, Tyler Bruff.
Places Jamar Taylor, who has 17 points. So perhaps Coach Young giving his talented senior a bit of rest as he appears to be the main man this season for the Falcons.
Hey! 32! Good.
Jones gives it to Williams, who stays out on the court. And a foul committed down low by Jonathan Harley, trying to cover Jeremiah Curtis, something that the Buccaneers have yet to figure out. Jones. Back in the hands of Chris Williams. Seems safe place for the Rock to be.
And Bruff thought about it there, but passes it up. We haven't seen him fire one yet.
Jones looking for options, has hands in his face. Guidi works it around to Curtis. Those two have a good
my
telepathy.
goodness.
And what a shot.
Jeremiah Curtis can shoot the basketball, and we're seeing that here tonight. Just
unbelievable stroke.
Just like Malik Fields.
Unbelievable stroke of the ball. It looked like it wasn't going to make it there, but somehow willed its way in.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a shot clock violation, but
Joseph Fogg answers with a bucket of his own. Right now, it's Falcons in dominant, 60-33. Just jokingly said they would reach the 150, but
oh my God. Deshaun Jones just toying with Malachi Eastman there.
The Falcons having fun out there right now as they prepare Sanson Navarrete to come into the game. A true freshman.
And that's what I wanted. I wanted to them to have some fun and have some positive energy to close out this game and go into UAH.
Eastman misses it. Ponce gets the long rebound, so Eastman gets a second chance again. A poor shot off the mark, but the rebound is plucked out of the air by Andre Williams.
Wow, what a rebound. The one-handed snag right out of the hands of Julio Guidi by Andre Williams.
16 points for Williams, cuts the deficit to 17. Long shot from Williams, can't get it to fall, but Julio Guidi is there for the rebound. Jones, there's Bruff, wide open three, gets it to fall.
Goodness. Bruff is almost automatic. That is Tyler Bruff's 13th three-pointer of the season.
And perhaps that's the reason why he's so selective with his three-point shots. Eastman trying to take things by the scruff of its neck.
And that's the
Andre
thing about
Williams, 17.
Bruff. You know, he can kind of be a one-dimensional player, only shooting threes, but he's so smart with the way he moves the basketball and with the way he makes decisions, and that's why Coach Young likes having Bruff out there on the floor.
And see, on this occasion, he turned down the three-point shot. Instead, made a smart pass to Chris Williams, who just gets called with the travel. Montevallo have a 28-point lead, 12:42 remaining in the game. You could start to see some fatigue of the face of these Buccaneers players as Joseph Fogg inbounds it to Malachi Eastman. Eastman, pass down low, too high for Joseph Fogg, who didn't read it right.
And again, they just continue the sloppy play, just like they did in the first half.
First action of the game for Sanson Navarrete, true freshman from Cornelia, Georgia, graduated from Tallulah Falls. 5'10" freshman. Eastman picks up a third foul, so he joins Goss with 3. Bit of foul trouble. First one from the line goes down for Jamar Taylor. He's having an excellent afternoon.
Substitute for Montevallo, number 10, Deshaun Jones.
So Deshaun Jones returns back to the action, placing debutant Sanson Navarrete. Montevallo with a 30-point lead after Jamar Taylor knocks down both of those free throws. And they called him free for a reason, but it appears that some players don't knock them down quite as easily as Williams and Taylor have been this year.
And Ponce took a lot of steps there, but no whistle.
Jamar Taylor with the basketball. Deshaun Jones, a lot of dangerous players on the court for the Falcons. There's Curtis bowling in there, and Jones got it, but he stepped on the baseline, turns it over.
Yeah, Curtis got away with the kickball there as well as the ball bounced kind of under his foot.
Timeout with 11:52 remaining here in the game. Montevallo dominating 67-37. Continued to pick up from the dominant first half.
Welcome to the floor, the Montevallo Cheerleaders.
Yeah, and as we get some stat updates here, a host of players with 3 fouls, 4 for the Virgin Islands, so that could be some issues down the stretch for Coach Jones's side.
Astoundingly, Montevallo with 16 assists compared to only 6 for the visitors. 5 each for Jones and Gilbert, who have committed 3 turnovers. 7 rebounds by Julio Guidi, leads everyone. Andre Williams also has 7. He leads his team in points with 18. Jamar Taylor leads all scorers with 19. Chris Williams has added 14. Jeremiah Curtis is not very far away from having a double-digit scoring game, as he has 8 to go along with 6 rebounds. Falcons shooting 64% from beyond the arc compared to only 22%. And that's pretty much the only story you need, as Jonathan Harley improves that percentage slightly, knocking down the 40th point for the Buccaneers. Jones to Bruff. Good movement by the Falcons. They haven't run out of ideas, and Virgin Islands continuing to be confused on the defensive side of the ball. Deshaun Jones draws a foul. Despite several of these players not playing together, we mentioned a lack of team chemistry at the beginning of the year. A lot of these players have experience, so if they can kind of find a team chemistry, find a identity, this is a very powerful team with a lot of individuals that can ball out.
And not only does Deshaun Jones have experience, but he has D1 NCAA tournament experience, having played at Jacksonville State prior to coming here to Montevallo.
Number 22, Marco Ponce.
Very impressed, too, by this Falcons lineup. The fear that's on the side of Virgin Islands, we don't see any of that for the Falcons. We'll see if they can have a similar attitude when they go against tough opposition on Wednesday and Friday. But right now, very impressive start at home. Montevallo look to go 2-0 in their opening 2 games here at Trustmark Arena. Ponce has returned to the action. Despite him not having the best shot selection, I love the energy and by Ponce. He hasn't given up at all, and he's kind of forcing things down low. Appears that some of the heads of some of the players have dropped, but Ponce is kind of rallying his side with his considerable effort. Jamar Taylor trying to get a bucket. Substitution, Chris Williams and Tyler Updike return to the action, replacing Bruff and Deshaun Jones. He's had a solid afternoon coming off the bench. Montevallo 68-42, 26-point lead with just over a quarter of the game remaining.
And if Montevallo's 3-point shooting percentage were to remain what it is right now, they'd be 5th all-time in the record books for best 3-point shooting percentage in a game.
Falcons running out of time on the shot clock, but the pass was too hot for Tyler Updike to corral. Andre Williams back out on the court. He's been the best player by a mile for the Buccaneers. Dangerous pass from Ponce, but it finds its target. Williams, the only player to knock down 3 so far, and he can't get that one to fall.
Chris Williams is getting too fancy there, turns it over.
A chance for an and-one opportunity, but it didn't fall, so Joseph Fogg will have to earn them the hard way. 68-42, 10:06 left in the game. Jamar Taylor picks up his second, the first of the half for Montevallo. It's been a better disciplined half as far as turnovers. They've only committed 14, but they had 12 in that first half. Only 2 in the past 10 minutes. That one goes in and out, so more free throw troubles for the visitors.
All right, and that Chris Williams turnover was, oh my. Wow.
Jamar Gilbert.
I'll let Jamar Taylor interrupt me all day long with that one, but Chris Williams had turned it over for the 16th time before that, for the 16th time as a team from Montevallo before that massive jump by Jamar Taylor.
Emphatic slam by Taylor, who gets his 21st point of the game. Zach Jackson pulls down the rebound as the Buccaneers fail to respond in turn, find themselves down 28. Chance for them to increase that. The loose pass from Updike looking for Jackson down low.
And now the 17th turnover for the Falcons. It's something they've got to limit on Wednesday against the Chargers.
That's perhaps a very worrying sign. The only worrying sign, but very worrying, because they only average 14.8. So 17 against lesser opposition does not bode well.
And part of it is with the lead, you try and play very, you try and play some hero ball. And with that, you get some turnovers and that sort of thing.
We also have some players that haven't played together very much, so we kind of see some players kind of making a name for themselves, trying to force some things. And this is the kind of game where you have some license to do that.
Right.
So perhaps the stats not reflecting the true story. The Falcons definitely have something to work on the next couple days. And a great move by Julio Guidi. And mentioned the Falcons having the size advantage. They're making it count right now in the paint. 30-point lead with 8:46 to go.
That's only the 6th point for Guidi. He's been held pretty quiet here tonight by this UVI defense.
Joseph Fogg was surprised by how much time he was afforded under the basket, but got it up and down. cuts it to 26, 8:30 to go. Taylor still out there on the court. Takes a long three, contested, gets it to fall, and he's getting everything to work today.
And that's 24 now for Jamar Taylor, and that one was just a bullet right at the basket.
He missed his first couple shots in warm-up, but after that went about 10 for 10.
Yeah,
Here's that's carried over in the game.
He's got a stroke. We've seen some good play from Zach Jackson in this game as he's locking down number 3, Anthony Goss, off the ball very well.
An unmovable force, that is Guidi. Zach Jackson gets the pass down low from Jamar Taylor and slams it down. 33-point lead for the Falcons, up 77-44.
And this is what you got to like if you're Coach Young. Running the floor and getting the open buckets, and Jamar Taylor hitting the 3, defense turning into offense. Just great job by the Falcons here.
Anthony Goss took a step and a turnover. Media timeout with 7:34 remaining. The Falcons 77, the Buccaneers 44.
And this is the kind of confidence builder you need to get ready for this UAH game. Just play loose, have fun, let Jamar Taylor go out and get 24. As I said, the only thing is Julio Guidi really hasn't done what he did against Carver, but Montevallo really hasn't needed him to with the way that Jamar Taylor has really taken on the scoring load.
Falcons have had a chance to play several players tonight. It appears that almost everyone has gotten a chance. They have a comfortable lead as well, and they've been shooting magnificently from beyond the arc. 67% on the game, 69% from the floor, compared to only 32% for the visitors, who were 23% from beyond the arc, only making 3 of their 11 free throw shots. Montevallo shooting 71%. Dominating points in the paint, 30-16. A lot of that has to go to the size that the Falcons have enjoyed. 7 rebounds each for Zach Jackson. You mentioned he's had a breakout game to go along with 10 points.
Yeah, and Montevallo's 8 of 12 now from beyond the arc, 66.7%. That ties them at second place in the record books for best three-point shooting percentage in a game. So shooting very well from beyond the arc.
Jeremiah Curtis, another player who could possibly get a double-double, has 8 points to go along with 6 rebounds. It's a quiet scoring game for Guidi, who only has 6, but with 7 rebounds, he's still. And Zach Jackson gets another bucket to go. That's his 12th point of the game. What a breakout game for Zach. 79-44, Falcons nursing a 35-point lead as Jeremiah Curtis prepares to check back in.
And another thing for the record books, Montevallo shooting 69% from the field. That would put them in 3rd all-time in the field goal shooting percentage.
It's been a great scoring day led by Jamar Taylor. He's kind of influenced his teammates. That shot falls from Justin Sifo, who's looked a lot better in the second half. He has 9 points on the afternoon. Player who had 21 last time out. Updike with a 3, got the bench on their feet as they would have loved the substitute to get it down, but Guidi with some hustle turns it over.
Guidi was out here playing volleyball, just batting the ball around.
Sifo, they looked like he may have traveled, or a reach-in on Guidi. Neither were called, and Zach Jackson comes around with his 8th rebound of the game. Jamar Gilbert back into the action, drives low, nobody coming with him, and does excellently to hold off the defender. You wouldn't know it from the expressions on Montevallo's coaches' faces, but players are certainly enjoying themselves over here.
Yeah, you're rarely going to get a smile out of Coach Young. He's like Nick Saban. There's always something to be upset about.
Well, he certainly has something obvious to point at. The turnovers have been the main problem.
I mean, if there's a negative thing to point out, that's what it is. I mean, and they've not only have they turned the ball over 17 times, but they've allowed UVI to score 15 points off of those turnovers. I mean, you're going to turn it over. You can't let them get those easy points like that.
Perhaps the only other stat that Montevallo are bettered at, 6 steals for the Virgin Islands compared to only 4 from the Falcons. 2 of those were from Jamar Gilbert. 2 each for Josh Goss as well as Andre Williams. Falcons lead the rebound numbers 36-18, including 29-6 defensive rebounds.
And one thing that I look at here is Montevallo's got 19 assists as a team, opposed to Virgin Islands 8. So Montevallo playing team basketball and UVI not. That's what that tells me.
Only 1 block from either team, and of course that credited to Julio Guidi, and an emphatic block it was.
He's been rather quiet today. I mean, we did see him have that one monster dunk, but other than that, the Buccaneers have done a good job of shutting down Guidi.
Chris Williams has had a great afternoon as well, has 14 points. Williams.
And we see Jake Fay back in for the Buccaneers after taking a long break on the bench. He's only 1 of 9 today from the field.
That's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Ponce turns it over. There's Curtis.
Oh my
Gilbert with
goodness.
the slam, and he wanted to take the net with him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The brand new net.
Montevallo putting on a show in the past few minutes, and we still got 5 minutes of it to go. Fay can't get that one to fall. He's 1 for 10. And a foul committed by Ponce. A little bit of frustration, perhaps, reaching in on Chris Williams.
And it got to take a mental toll on you when you're shooting 1 of 10 from the field. You know, they always tell great shooters we're in there in shooting slumps to keep shooting, but I mean, when you're in that far of a slump, I don't know what you can do.
Yeah, I don't think Coach Jones will be saying just stop, but he will be saying at least think twice.
Yeah.
Before shooting that. There's been a lot of low percentage shots from the Virgin Islands, but you know, you're not exactly left with a choice when you're facing a deficit like that. But
and Goss got away with the travel there before the shot. He just took a couple too many steps.
It was an odd shot as well, and it
That was
somehow
very
worked
weird,
its way in there. 83-49. Montevallo enjoying a 34-point lead. It's their largest of the game. 4:53 remaining. Sanson Navarrete is checked back in.
14. Yeah.
Long 2 from Curtis, put too much on it. It's
Wow.
tipped around by Zach Jackson.
Zach's got 14.
He has 14 on the afternoon to go along with 8 rebounds. Breakout game for him. Ponce gets that one to fall, and it's a 3-pointer.
That's his first of the game.
Ponce's first points as well. Has 2 rebounds. Quiet afternoon despite his hustle. Jamar Gilbert, wow, what dexterity underneath the basket.
I've been very impressed with Jamar Gilbert and Zach Jackson today. They have really stepped up, and where Montevallo hasn't really needed Julio Guidi.
There's Fay, and there's another miss. He's 1 for 11 on the afternoon. I think he's going to lose his shooting privileges.
At some point, you've got to just, you know, go, this is not my game, and I've got to, today is not my day. At some point, you've got to realize that.
I just hope his teammates aren't mad at him on the long trip back, because he certainly let his teammates down today.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't know what he's shooting on the season. I don't have that number. But I imagine if he's coming in here taking 12 shots that he's been shooting well all season long, but this is just an off day for Fay.
Trustmark Arena has kind of been a fortress for Montevallo. They seem to play above themselves even when taking on some heavy opposition. We've seen Columbus State and Young Harris come here and look like normal teams despite having excellent seasons when they come here.
Well, I'll tell you a team that isn't scared to play here is North Georgia. I'm glad we don't have to play them this year, and they're still in the Peach Belt, not the Gulf South, because they beat us 2 years in a row on buzzer beaters. They had our number there.
Yeah, perhaps Virgin Islands got their game plan from them because they just shoot lights out threes.
Yep.
Just not been dropping today for the Buccaneers. Coach Jones' side been outplayed. What a pass down low.
Oh
Chris Williams and Zach Jackson are playing some unbelievable basketball.
Zach Jackson has 16 points.
Wow, what a combination those two are proving to be.
And Alex, you asked me at the beginning of the game what Montevallo was going to need off the bench, and the answer is Zach Jackson. Wow, he has been amazing today.
Offensive rebound, a rare one. And a charge called on Andre Williams, who went forcefully in on his namesake, Chris.
And this is exactly the game that Montevallo needs to have before they go to AH on Wednesday. Because Zach Jackson, man, what a game. That boosts his confidence big, man. He doesn't even score any points until this game all season long, and has 16 tonight. And not only has he scored, but he's played impressive defense, probably one of the best one-on-one defenders this Montevallo team has. And then rebounding as well. I'm very impressed with Zach Jackson. Jamar Gilbert also. Not to mention Chris Williams. I could name everyone on the team, but Montevallo playing very, very well.
Yeah, perhaps the only negative things we've highlighted, the turnovers and perhaps the lack of depth down low. We've seen Alec Medinica come on for a little bit, but hasn't had to be utilized as much.
Well, but Zach Jackson has kind of filled in that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only 6'4", but he's kind of taken a little bit of that role and has kind of roamed down low a little bit and has had success with the emphatic dunks.
3:24 left in the game. Andre Williams appears to be the only player fresh for the Buccaneers. He has his team-high 19 points. Montevallo have 24 from Jamar Taylor, as well as 16 each from Chris Williams and Zach Jackson. Jackson also leads the team in rebounds, has 9. Julio Guidi has 7. Only one player with more than 3 rebounds for the visitors, and that's Andre Williams, who has 6 rebounds to go along with 19. Montevallo shooting 62% from beyond the arc, but 70% from the floor. That 70% is 3rd in all-time history. But that 62% has dropped them outside the top 5 for 3-point and all-time history.
But what a game shooting they've had. I mean, I don't know a Montevallo team in recent history that's shot this well from the field and from 3, as Zach Jackson gets a strong offensive rebound, but can't turn it into 2 points.
Jackson got the rebound from Updike's missed shot, but nothing comes of it for the Falcons. Fay turns down a shot, but perhaps it's too late. Sifo to Goss. Back out to his brother, Anthony. 2:46 and counting. Andre Williams. Zach Jackson keeping Fay within arm's length. 3 from distance, and that falls from Anthony Goss. It was decent defense from the Falcons. Not much they could do about that. With a 33-point lead, 89-56. Sanson Navarrete, Medinica down low to Zach Jackson. He gets his 18th point of the game, and he's making it look easy on the boards. Falcons not far away from cracking that 100 mark today, which seems to be a more reasonable goal rather than the 150 that I pegged them for earlier in this half. Gilbert, what a pass down low to Medinica. And Gilbert just ghosted through. Exactly 2 minutes to go. Anthony Goss picks up his 4th foul of the game, which will send Alec Medinica to the line. He's 2 for 2 from the line, and the Falcons are 15 for 22.
Yeah, and they're just 1 point away from tying their highest point total scored all season.
Have to wait to another possession as Medinica misses the first one. Malachi Eastman, who's been on the bench for a while, checks back in for Anthony Goss, who put in a solid shift. Medinica misses 2 after making his previous 2 attempts, and Fay plucks down the rebound. 1 rebound and 3 points for Jake Fay today in what has been a tough afternoon. But what a 3 from Sifo. It's his 13th point of the game. It's been a quiet afternoon.
Yeah, he's come alive here in the second half.
59th point of the game. They still trail 32 with 1.5 minutes to go. Gilbert powering to a strong finish. There's Zach Jackson, and that's his 20th.
Wow. Wow. I don't think anyone would have expected Zach Jackson to have this kind of day.
With so many options off the bench, you would imagine somebody would have a breakout game, but this has been an emphatic performance from Zach Jackson.
Zach Jackson also has 9 rebounds in today's game,
which is a game high. Just 1 away from a double-double. The junior who transferred from Lawson State Community College, and he's from nearby Pinson Valley, so a lot of talent in this Birmingham area. Joseph Fogg returns to the action, replacing Jake Fay, who will hoping this is the last he sees at Trustmark Arena.
Yeah, but you got to brush a game out like this off. I know
Yeah.
we've been talking about Fay a lot in today's game, but you just got to look past this game and keep going. And if you're a shooter and this is what you do, keep shooting.
Yeah, we've seen Falcons have problems with that in the past,
Oh, yeah.
particularly in the first 3 games.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to shoot your way through
Every
it.
great shooter gets into slumps and has problems like that, but you just got to keep your confidence up. And I think that's been a thing with Fay today. We see him keep shooting and trying to get out of that, but it's just destroying his confidence.
In this basketball season, it seems to be a marathon rather than a sprint, but it can feel that way early on.
Jamar Gilbert just dribbled through the entire Buccaneer defense there. That was...
So a long way to go for the Falcons. How important are these games against UAH and UNA? Because they kind of just whet their appetite. They don't start conference play quite yet. They have 2 games against Stillman
they've got to
and Oakwood to kind of perfect it.
Right, they've got to set the tone. This is the first, time back in Gulf South in 8 years, I believe. So Montevallo's got to, come back in. They were on the top of the Gulf South when they were there, so they've got to come back in and set the tone and really in these rivalries show who's boss, so to speak. And they got to own it. They got to win the state, as our athletic director Mark Richard has said all season long.
And what a perfect kind of benchmark for the Falcons to have. You really can tell where you're at because you're playing 2 of the top teams in the conference, in-state rivals. It's kind of a good marker to kind of see how far this team has come since starting the season 0-3.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a great test Wednesday night, and I cannot wait. You and me will be on the call for that men's game following the women's, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, the women's game starts at 6 to be followed by the men's game at 8, and hopefully be in front of a sold-out Trustmark Arena on Wednesday.
And we're going to try and talk to Coach Young after this game, and we'll see his thoughts of the way that the Falcons played here and going forward to UAH. And the fans are going to give it to Fogg on that one as he airballed the free throw.
Yeah, perhaps just the latest of troubles for Virgin Islands and what's been a difficult afternoon. Montevallo with a 35 lead. You start to hear some noise from the fans as well as the cheerleaders. 25 seconds to go, difference between 8 between shot and game clock. Sanson Navarrete passes up to Medinica. Updike, who wants this bucket? I think Zach Jackson does. The junior continues his dominance. Williams got away with a travel. Fogg got fouled. 10.1 to go.
Personal foul, number 20, Tyler Updike. His first personal team foul, number 5. Shooting 2 for UVI. 14, Joseph.
And with that basket, Zach Jackson tied the record for field goal percentage in a single game by an individual player.
Fogg gets a fortunate bounce on that one. 61-97, 8 seconds. Sanson Navarrete carrying it down the court. He's gotten his first action in a Falcons uniform. And Jamar Gilbert will just dribble this one out. Montevallo 97, University of the Virgin Islands 61. And what was a dominant performance by the Falcons. They committed too many turnovers in the first half, only committed a few here in the second.
Yeah,
great afternoon for Jamar Taylor, but a breakout game for Zach Jackson.
Wow, and he tied the field goal percentage at 91%. It was made by Earl Ike versus St. Augustine College back in 1989, and he ties that here today. And we're going to talk with Zach Jackson and Coach Young after this impressive game. I'll talk to Danny and you can talk to Zach. Unless you want to talk to him. I'll go to him. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Turn that down. I can't hear. Turn that down.
All right, welcome back into Trustmark Arena. I'm joined by Coach Danny Young after Montevallo wins 97-61 against the University of the Virgin Islands here. Coach Young,
Get it in and go.
Coach
Sorry.
Young, what do you have to say after this impressive win here tonight?
Oh, you know, it's been so tough, and I'm glad they played hard, and I'm glad they had a little fun. I think it was good for them to. We played really well, and we shot the ball really well. So it was exciting to see them play, just play well, and you know, a little relief for them.
And what can you say about Zach Jackson? We're going to talk to him here in a second, but he tied the field goal percentage all time in school history at 91% in a single game.
He was unbelievable tonight. He was everywhere tonight. He did everything we asked him to do, and we've moved him around positions a little bit, and he was just really good for us.
Having Zach Jackson have a breakout game like he did today, what does that do with your confidence going into the game against UAH on Wednesday? What does it do having a player like that?
I'm just, you know, it's just great to have somebody step up like that, and we just have to step up as a whole group, you know, at this point with the tragic loss, and just have to step up and come together and continue to try to improve every day.
And one thing on the negative side that we did see today was the 17 turnovers. What is a way to limit that against UAH on Wednesday?
Oh, you know, we got running and got wild there for a little while, and we just didn't make good decisions. And you know, something else we've been working on is our offense and trying to get better, and hopefully we continue to get better, not turn it over like that.
Okay, well, Coach Young, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on the win, and good luck on Wednesday against the Chargers.
Thank you so much.
All right, stay with us here as we're going to talk to Zach Jackson after he had the huge game, and Alex Tejada will talk to Jackson. Okay, actually, I'll talk to Jackson here. Zach, thank you for joining us here after the 97-61 win. First of all, as we see some highlights there, what a fantastic game you have. Where did that come from?
I'm really not sure. When I got the opportunity, I was going to take advantage of it.
And I'm not sure if they told you this or not, but you tied the field goal percentage in single game first overall in school history with Earl Ike to set that back in 1998 with
so
your fantastic.
I tied it?
Yeah, so you and Earl Ike hold the best field goal percentage in a single game in school history now after that amazing 20-point performance you had.
Oh, that's crazy. I had no idea at all.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. How do you take a game like this that you had and turn it in to having another great game against UAH?
I'm just going to try to produce the same way. When I get the opportunity, I'm going to try to get the same looks. And my teammates were really looking for me tonight when they were driving, so I was able to finish.
And not only did you score well, but you were the leading rebounder on the team today as well. What did you do to crash the board so effectively?
Coach, before the game, he was like, we really need to crash the offensive board, so I was trying to be effective in that way too.
And talk about the way your team played. The best shooting percentage they've had all season long, shooting 70% for the game. I mean, just talk about where that came from.
We were really just moving the ball around. We weren't taking the first open shot. We were working the defense a little bit more and moving it around to get better shots. And they fell for us.
Well, how do you carry this energy that you have with all the dunks and all the big plays? How do you carry that energy into the game Wednesday? Because it's going to be a massive game here in Trustmark Arena.
Yeah, Wednesday's definitely going to be a bigger game. We just got to come with the same mindset and execute our plays and bring the same energy we had tonight.
All right. Well, Zach, thank you for joining us. Montevallo gets the win, 97-61 here in Trustmark Arena over the University of Virgin Islands. For Alex Tejada, I'm Wyatt Hall. Join us here Wednesday as Montevallo takes on the Chargers here on the Falcon Athletic Network. Have a good night.